guys, nogrules here, and I'm going to be calling this Getting to Know Nogrules. So a lot of you asked me questions for my Q&A, so I was really surprised by how many people responded, so I wrote them all down here because my printer is out of ink, so did it the old manual way. So without further ado, let's get it started here. So Masochist Mouse asks, your thoughts on Nintendo Week or the XBL show? Now I think Nintendo Week is on the Nintendo Wii, the channel it has there. Unfortunately, I haven't really watched either one, but I think they just do game reviews and stuff, which is cool. I'll have to check it out. I don't really turn on my Wii all that much, and I don't have an Xbox, so. The next part of the question is favorite game villain. By far number one would have to be Bowser, as well as I really like Metal Man from Mega Man 2. He's really cool. Mega Relic 1 asks, do Japanese Super Nintendo games work in the American Super Nintendo? So the short answer is yes. Basically on the American Super Nintendo it has a couple tabs. I'll show you a picture here. It has a couple tabs. You just either have to break them out or cut them out, and then the Super Famicom carts will fit right in there, and they play just fine. Jacob Rocks 100 asks, what's your best experience with a game? My best experience with a game, I would have to say, like, let's see here. Well, I remember like playing Resident Evil 2 with my mom, and we beat the whole game in one sitting, and she helped me with like some of the puzzles and stuff, and that was kind of cool. You know, I was a teenager. She's like, oh, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, just jamming on some Resident Evil. And then she sat down and we actually finished the whole game together, so that was pretty cool. And then he also asks, what video game would you like to be in if possible? And I would probably have to say Super Mario Brothers, because I don't know, I think it'd be kind of cool hanging out in the Mushroom Kingdom. Now Corporal Calico asks, what if you're on an adventure in the Amazon jungle with Mr. T and an old Game Boy with no batteries? After 2 days you came upon a group of hungry cannibals with a case of AA batteries. Would you trade Mr. T for the pack of batteries? Now if I was on an adventure with Mr. T, more than likely we've created a bond and we're homies, and really I can wait to play Game Boy, so I would say no. I'd rather have my friend and companion Mr. T there with me than a pack of batteries so I can jam on a Game Boy. So the answer is no, I would not trade Mr. T for a pack of AA's. But very interesting question. LV Peppy 38 aka Hacker727 asks, what started you collecting? Well, that's a pretty good question, but I don't know, as I got older there's a lot of games that I wanted from when I was a kid, and that you know, when I was younger, you know, you just don't have that much money, so you don't, you know, you go to your friend's house, you play this game, and you know, you rent different games. I don't know, just as I got older I thought it'd be awesome to own all those, and I've been collecting on and off for, I don't know, forever. So I think it's more like now that I'm an adult and I have my own money, you know, I have the money to spend on it, and you know, instead of, you know, 50, 60, 70 bucks a game, you can get them for, you know, $2, $3, $4, $5 a game at like thrift stores and flea markets. So yeah, I think I started collecting just, you know, to relive that whole feeling. Like, I don't know, it just brings back memories. I think it's awesome. So hopefully that answers your question. The editor asks, what is your most prized possession in your collection? My most prized possession is more than likely, I'm going to say my Virtual Boy and my games that I have with it. Because it's a rare system, not many people have it around here, so when buddies come over and everything. They're just like, wow. A lot of people don't even know what it is, like a lot of friends and stuff. So I really like it too. It's a really cool system to play. So that is my most prized collection piece in my collection. Cynical Enigma, he asks a bunch of questions here, so we'll just we'll get to these. My favorite restaurant. My favorite restaurant would be a restaurant called Little George's. It's just around the corner from my place. It's like a pizza and pasta place. They just make really good food. They got killer wings, awesome like baked lasagna and baked spaghetti. Their pizza is really good, and they're decently priced, and so that's mine. My favorite drink, I would have to say probably iced tea. If you're talking about non-alcoholic, yeah. Well, later on, yeah. So iced tea. My favorite pastime video game. If I'm just looking to, game out for a little bit, I would say Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo. I seem to always go to that one. I can't get enough of it. Mario or Sonic, that one's super easy for me. It's Mario 100% all the way. Sonic's cool, but I grew up with Mario, so. PlayStation or Xbox? That's a tough one. I really like the original Xbox because you can mod it and put everything on it. But I have a bigger PlayStation 2 collection. I have a PlayStation 3, but I don't have a 360. Man, that's a tough one. I like them both, but I would choose original Xbox over all of them. My choice of alcohol would be Bacardi White Rum. I'm a rum and coke kind of guy. I don't really like drinking beer or anything. Like, I'll drink a beer, but if I have a choice, yeah, rum and coke. Bacardi White Rum is good stuff. Do I have any import consoles? If yes, how many? The only one I have officially is the Virtual Boy. It's a Japanese one. It's not a American one, so technically it's an import, even though it will play either one. Alright, so Mike Gartner asks me this question. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I'll read it out to you guys. It's quite the story here. So Mike Gartner asks, while you are asleep and dreaming of rescuing Zelda and claiming an award, much to the wife's chagrin, ninjas under the orders from the affluent junkie Dr. Robotnik have stolen Beaker. And for those of you who don't know, Beaker is my bird. Despite there being a million cockatiels in Australia, Beaker apparently has some magical feathers that, when boiled and inhaled as steam, can allow its inhaler the ability to fly. Upon finding the arbitrary note in Beaker's absence, you need to recruit allies to get Beaker back from Robotnik and his ninjas. Which 4 characters from any video game, and then he has this in bold, that have the ability to fly, whether it be through magic or a ship or with a power-up, would you choose to aid you in the fight to get Beaker back? Stay retro, so you can use characters up to the Sega CD. Now, Mike, when the first time I read this question, I was almost in tears. I was laughing so hard, but because I read it a couple times and I wrote it out, like, man, that was an awesome question. But to answer it, the 4 allies I would pick would be Raccoon Mario, Kirby, because he can change into any forms. I get Tails from Sonic the Hedgehog, because I always thought he was mad cool. And I would take Bert from Monster Party. He's a big dragon thing, for those of you who haven't played that. He's pretty badass and he can shoot and stuff, so hopefully with those 4 guys we can get Beaker back. I can, claim my award and wake up and find out it was all a dream. Anyways, that was an awesome question. Tribes of CA or Tribes of Ka, I'm not 100% sure which one it is, but he asks, do you still have your first game system? The answer is sadly no, I do not. My very first game system was Atari 2600, and when we got our regular Nintendo, we gave that to my cousins. And then, just from moving around and stuff, we got... I'm sure they donated it away or something. I'm not sure, but no, I don't have my original system anymore. So, but that's okay. I've made up for it. I have pretty much all the games I had when I was a kid. 49er Nation 1 asks a bunch of questions here. My favorite food and why. My favorite food would probably be tacos. I really like Mexican food. It tastes good. My favorite color is probably blue. It's the most appealing to me. Dogs and cats. Dogs or cats, I guess. I would have to say dogs because I'm really allergic to cats. And I find dogs are much more loyal than cats anyways. So, next one is, if you could create a video game, what kind of game would it be? And what would you call it? And who would be the main character? And what would be the target audience? So, if you watched my video, it was my response to the editors, hey, I have over 20 subs contest. I made, he asked pretty much the same question. He asked us to make a game and what it's all about. So I made a game. It's a MIDI composer for the Super Nintendo. So yeah, I call it nogrules MIDI composer, and it would be targeted to everybody who plays an instrument or wants to learn how. So check out that video if you want to see what I'm talking about. Pizzas or burgers? I would say pizza. I don't know. I think it's better. Wendy's or McDonald's, and why? Wendy's 100%. McDonald's kind of just gives me that gross feeling. It always makes me feel sick, where Wendy's is pretty good. French toast or pancakes? I like French toast a lot. I like the cinnamony flavor. You know, you put a bunch of stuff. Pancakes, they're good too. But yeah, I'd pick French toast. Retro or modern? You can only pick one. That's really easy for me. I'm keeping it retro all the way. And the reason is I'm a pretty casual gamer. I'm more of a collector. So the newer stuff doesn't really appeal to me all that much. I'm more in it for the memories and like that nostalgic feeling you get. So yeah, 100% I pick retro. I'll pick up my Super Nintendo or my regular Nintendo every couple of days, or my Game Boy, where my PS3, I have one, but I haven't turned it on in like a year. The Wii, I play every once in a while when there's a good game that came out. Like, last game I think I played was Kirby's Return to Dreamland, and played that. I think I beat it, and then just haven't turned it back on since then. Then he goes on to ask, what if you could have 3 Disney characters protect your video game collection and your family, who and why? Disney characters, let's see, I would pick Genie from the Aladdin because he's got lots of magic power. I picked the Beast from Beauty and the Beast because he could, you know, seriously rip shit up. And I'd probably pick Scrooge McDuck because he's really rich, so he could hire security and he could financially take care of the family and make sure, and we could put the games in his vault and stuff like that. And then he said, what made me want to start collecting? Kind of like Hacker727 asked, why did I want to start? What got me into it? It was basically just so I could have stuff that I've always wanted from when I was a kid. Okay, then Johnson Boba asks, would you ever invest in flashcards or cards for the Nintendo DS? And that quick answer is yes, I would. And what do you think of modding the Wii, PS3, or PSP? What are your thoughts on them and working bootlegs? So, well, I've modded my Xbox. I was going to mod my Wii. I'm not a big person into let's mod it and then not buy any games, because I have a hell of a collection, but I'm especially with modern consoles, you know, you're looking at anywhere from $50 to $100 for a new game. So I really like to try them before I buy them. And a lot of times I really like the homebrew aspect. So that's the reason I got the flashcards, was there's a lot of homebrew titles that will never get released commercially, that the community has made for the Nintendo DS that I really enjoy. As well as the PSP, there's a lot of homebrew on there as well. And a lot of times, truthfully, I'll mod them or use the flashcard so I could put regular Nintendo or Super Nintendo. So if I don't have my Game Boy with me, you know, I can bust out Mario Brothers or whatever. And then bootlegs, I really like the pirate stuff, so I mean, you can see my pirate video. I collect all the bootlegs and weird stuff like that. Just because it's so terrible, but it's so terrible it's good. You know. So the next one is Rammstein Fan 234, also known as Matthew, asks, if there was a fire and you could only save 3 items from your gaming collection, what would they be and why? Man, that's been like, you know, I don't know if I'm a little bit paranoid about that happening, but I always like, oh shit, if there's a fire, I'm screwed. But if I had to save 3 things from my collection, it would be my Angry Video Game Nerd signed photo, just because it's not really replaceable. Although I'm sure if you wrote him a sob story, James seems like a cool guy, he'd probably send you another one, but I would save that. I would save my Mario bag, that's from, let's see here, it's right beside me, 1983. It's like a Nintendo carrying case. And I'd probably save Mario RPG on Super Nintendo, just because then I wouldn't have to buy it again. And then he asks, if Sega ever decided to make a new system and you were asked to come up with the name, what would you call it? I don't know. Sega had a new system and I had to name it. I don't know, maybe the Sega Blast or something cool. I don't know. That would be kind of cool if they brought out a new system though. Even though I heard that Sega was downsizing all their operations, but that's a whole nother topic. And then lastly here we have Slash's Elite, also known as Mr. Master Mister, asks, what is your most valuable game and item in your collection? So most valuable item would probably be my Virtual Boy, and valuable game would more than likely be Mario RPG. I don't have any super rare stuff. Yeah, I think either my Virtual Boy or the Donkey Kong Game & Watch are probably the most valuable I have. But anyways, so that concludes our first episode of Getting to Know nogrules, the Q&A. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I answered all the questions well, and thank you to everybody for participating. And I just want to say thank you to all my subscribers. I've now hit 150, so thank you very much. And I look forward to making more videos and seeing you guys on the other side. We'll talk to you later. Bye.